What's going on, guys? So we're going to continue on with the Jeep Liberty motor install. So what we got going on right now is I have the motor disassembled for the parts that I need right here, all on the floor for the reman motor over there. I got it in yesterday. I got the parts off. I didn't care about filming that because that's just redundant stuff. You're going to see me install these parts onto that motor, so it's kind of like makes no sense in taking these off. Anyway, it's a fight anyway whenever you're taking these parts off with just the crud and all that other stuff. So I just wanted to go ahead and get that. But I'm gonna go ahead and take these to the car wash, and I'm gonna degrease these parts and spray them off and get them nice and clean, so it'll be nice and pretty whenever I put them on the new engine. I don't like putting dirty parts on a new engine. That just don't make any sense. Also, it gives the owners, you know, the aesthetics of seeing that they got a new engine at all. But anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and do this over the car wash, and then after that I got to rearrange some motors around. I got to get this put on the side and then get that uncrated, get that up on the lift, on the hoist, and start installing the motor parts. And after I get all this together, then we'll be plopping it back into the Jeep, and we'll be getting everything buttoned up on that, adding fluids, making sure everything is as it's supposed to be. I'll be charging the battery in the meanwhile, and then we will start that bad boy up, get it running, call up the owner, have them come down, have them get their vehicle, be out, and then that will be done. So here's what a reman motor looks like, nice and pretty, compared to the old nasty, grimy one over there. Oil pump's already in there, that's a good thing. Looks good. I was wondering about the dowel pins not being there, so they're there, that's great. And I knew they wouldn't have the engine ground studs in there. That's why I took the ones off the other one. So kudos on me for doing that. Cool. It's a good starting point. So this is the gasket kit you get whenever you buy a remanufactured engine. It comes with your valve cover gasket, your oil pan gasket, your water pump gasket, intake manifold gaskets, front crank seal, front timing cover gaskets, depending on what type of intake manifold setup you got. Here's another different intake manifold gasket and exhaust gaskets. So pretty straightforward. The engine comes mostly assembled. Besides, these things have to be transferred from the old engine onto the vehicle, to the new motor. That's why I'm doing all the cleaning and prep work on it. and once I put it on, it'll look nice and new and ready to go. Alright guys, it's late at night. Well, not too late, it's late in the evening, and I had a storm roll in. I had all the vehicles outside. I had to push everything back in when I was in the middle of cleaning parts up, and then I noticed hail was coming, so I had to haul butt back to my house, have my wife come back and drop me off. So I'm here without a ride until Joseph gets back, but that's what I've been up against today. And I finally got things to where outside again, the weather stopped, got the bottom of the engine cleaned up, getting ready to put the oil pan gasket on. The way it works is that counts as a windage tray as well for the underneath. So I'm gonna put some RTV along the bottom of it. I'm gonna put the gasket on, the oil pickup tube in, tighten it down so that holds in place. Then RTV the pan, put the pan on, and stick it. So that is what I'm up against. It's tedious stuff. I hate doing this crap, but it's got to get done. Now I'm going to work on the valve cover gaskets, getting the valve covers on. Joseph's cleaning up the timing cover bolts. So after he's done with that, I'll have the valve covers on and we'll work on putting the timing cover on. There you have it, guys. Valve covers are on. Alright, now we're going to work on the front timing cover. I got everything wiped down. The O-rings right here. That's what's got to go on it to seal for the coolant passages to the front timing cover. So I'm going to double check the threaded holes and make sure none of them are inside a water jacket. If they are in a water jacket, that's when you apply Teflon to the threads. but in this case I don't think there is, but I'm gonna double check that just to make sure, and then I'm gonna RTV both sides and stick that bad boy on. Giving you guys a little update because I was getting my ass handed to me earlier and I'm tired. Just wore out at this point. I got of course you saw the timing cover on, got the water pump on, filled up the oil filter, put that on, got the oil pressure sensor on, I got the coolant temperature sensor on, I got the filler neck on the head on. Joseph right now is working on the he's cleaning up the knock sensor harness. He's also cleaning up the exhaust manifold bolts, and I'm gonna put the ground studs on the block. I'm gonna finish putting the sensors on the block, crank and cam sensor, and from there it's a flex plate, exhaust manifolds, front crank, and the tensioner for the belt assembly. Other than that, that's pretty much what's left on it. And then from there we'll suspend it in the air and install that bad boy into the vehicle itself. I got everything on the engine together minus the intake manifold. If you watched my previous episode, you saw that I had to take that off in order to get the engine out, so I'm gonna leave it off in order to get the engine in, and it gives me access to the back bolts for the bell housing, so that's good. Everything's on it: thermostat, pulley tensioner, water pump, timing cover, filler neck, sensors, grounding studs, everything that I needed in order to move on. Everything's done. Flex plate, spacer for the bell housing, everything's in, everything's good. So I'm at a great stopping point. I'm gonna call it the night, and whenever I get back we'll start anew. Alright guys, it's a new day. Back from the shenanigans of the 4th of July weekend, and now I'm gonna go ahead and get that motor in that vehicle. The motor is pretty much all buttoned up and together besides the intake manifold, which I do not need that. It's best to put it in without that. So now we're gonna take that, put motor mounts on it, and stab it in that engine bay and start getting things put back together. Okay, so the motor mounts are on now, guys. I had to drill out the holes a little bit on that one to get the holes to be precise to get the bolts in. Got the jacking up the transmission to it bottoms out up on the tunnel. So now ain't nothing to it but to do it. I'm gonna raise the hoist and stab this bad boy in there. Okay, so we got it stabbed, we got the top bolts mounted. Joseph right now is putting the rest of the bell housing bolts in. We did bend this a little bit putting it in, but that's okay. When we jam the bracket back in, it'll put it back flush. I'll try to straighten it out a little bit more. But if you can see in here, there's a flashlight at, Joseph. Here, shine the light real quick right here. As you can see, I'm spinning the torque converter. So that tells me the torque converter is stabbed all the way in the transmission like it should be. That's typically a place that a lot of people mess up when they're installing an automatic transmission, is they won't twist and make sure that the torque converter isn't all the way, and then when they stab the engine in, things aren't mating up right, or if it does mate, you got tons of pressure against your torque converter causing it to lock up. That's like one of the most critical things that you need to take care of whenever you're stabbing the transmission, is to make sure that that torque converter is indeed stabbed all the way in. So cool thing about this is I really like the way they have the slots cut away on the motor mount brackets on the frame. That was making life a whole lot easier for us whenever we put it in. And now it's just a matter of bolting everything in and bolting it all up, making sure everything's good. So after Joseph is done with the bell housing bolts, we'll move on and do the torque converter bolts. And of course, whenever you're doing the torque converter bolts, you want to make sure you use Loctite on those as well. Alright, now we're going to do torque converter bolts. Got them in. And now it's just a matter of tightening them down, rotating the crank, and tightening them down, rotating the crank. Joseph's got the bracket cleaned up. He's installing it now in between the bell housing and the engine. It's a support bracket that gives it a more rigid mount from the bell housing to the engine block. It bolts to the bottom of the bell housing and bolts to the bottom right here on the engine block. Well, my wife is gone for a couple weeks and I have the kids. I got daddy duties. So, and then with that being said, I also have to work a lot this week. I have to stay late pretty much all week. So I don't know if I'm gonna end this video now, but if I do, that's the reason why. And then I might just make it a 3-part video where I finish it off and get it started. But if I do end it, I'm gonna call it the day on this. Go ahead, like, comment, subscribe. Thank you guys for watching. See you on the next video.